Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I was a little bit late. I was a little bit late then. It caught me. You guys caught me off guard. So good morning, everybody. The United Kingdom right now, guys. Unless you'd not noticed, unless you've been living in a cave, the United Kingdom is an absolute shit show right now, guys. We are a dumpster fire rolling out of control. We have mass exodus, mass influx, all sorts of crazy shizzles going on now. Before I get into the live stream, guys, and before I get into, I've got a few videos to share with you guys. I've got a few articles to share with you guys. Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know, I want to talk about, like space and space technology and leaving the planet, aliens, alternate dimensions, how the future of humanity is not on Earth. The future of humanity is in space. We need to get off this planet, start putting colonies on the moon, colonies on Mars, rotating habitats, in geostationary orbit around the sun, solar panels, all sorts of stuff. But we are literally a dumpster fire right now, guys, because here in the United Kingdom, things are going from bad to worse. They really are. And I'm just going to give you guys a little, I'm just going to talk about this. So there's no question, as far as I'm concerned, there's no question humanity's future is in space. It has to be, as we have more children, and Labour is certainly contributing to that. As we have more children, we're going to need to leave the planet. That's the reality. Human eyes have pointed up since we were putting cave markings on. Since cavemen were putting markings on caves, like, I don't know, thousands of years ago, or whatever it was. Right now, we could be doing a lot more. We could, guys. We could be doing a lot more. But we can't talk about that now, because right now, down here on Earth, we are an absolute, the whole world is a dumpster fire, actually. Not just the United Kingdom, although I do think the United Kingdom is leading the way on how to. I do think the United Kingdom is leading the way on how not to run a country. So let's just move forward. The ground shifted under our feet, and we, if we don't stare down, we might never get to this. So let's zoom in to the United Kingdom right now. I'm gonna give a little monologue about the United Kingdom now, guys, and I'm just gonna let you know how bad things actually are. And I know I keep saying this. I do. I know I keep saying this, but we are so close to leaving the country. Like, so close to leaving the UK right now. I don't even know what's keeping me back anymore. I used to say it was the girls at school keeping us back. I mean, the kids have got AI at classrooms now, listening, and I think they've got like an AI box in the classrooms. I don't know if it's the school that they're in trialing this, but they've literally got AI now listening to them in class. So here in the United Kingdom, guys, okay, our tea is still hot, but the vibe has gone cold. Can you guys remember that 90s vibe that everybody used to have? Like, wasn't everything just cool in the 90s? Everything was cooler in the 90s. Everything in the 80s, it was rock and roll. In the 90s, everything was just cool. I want to start with this, guys, okay? We are absolutely bleeding, hemorrhaging talent in the United Kingdom. They're leaving in absolute droves. Now, we're losing wealth creators. We are losing business entrepreneurs. We're losing the people who build society, the dreamers who turn ideas into empires, basically. Those people are diddly gone. They're diddly gone. Henley and Partners 2025 Wealth Migration Report just dropped an absolute hammer. We are at the bottom of the list, guys. Okay, we're at the bottom of the list. A record 16,500 millionaires have packed their bags and left this year. That's taking 91.8 billion in assets out of the United Kingdom's economy. That's gone. That's gone. They've left. They've not left because they've not left because of any other reason than taxes. Taxes. So now, how the government's trying to raise money with all these taxes, etc. What they've actually done is hit. Well, I'll share this with you guys now. Actually, I will share this with you, and then I'll. So here it is, guys. You guys can check that out yourself. Henley and Partners. Henley and Partners. Sorry, country wealth flows. So if you look here, the United Arab Emirates, more people. They have got 9,000 plus. These are migrating millionaires. So to the United Arab Emirates, 9,800. Two, these are millionaires into the United States. 7,500, and that's bringing an estimated $63 billion into the United Arab Emirates economy, and $43 billion into the United States economy. Now, where do you think Britain is on that list, guys? Where do you think Britain is on the bottom of that list? Yeah, we're at the fucking bottom, guys. We are at the bottom. So we have, like I just said there, guys, they're the statistics, okay? That's not me making it up. They're the statistics there, guys. We are at the bottom of the list. We have got 16,500 millionaires leaving the United Kingdom, taking with them 91.8 billion. This should be a national disgrace. This should be an absolute national disgrace, guys. Because do you know what? Do you know where so what happens now? Now we've lost 91 billion from our economy because we're taxing millionaires, the wealth creators. Guess what? We have to find that in taxes. We have to put taxes up to another 91 billion. So before we even start, we're 91 billion down. And that's double. That's only last year, guys. Last year there was half that amount. So we've doubled it, and the estimates for next year are going up even higher. So the United Arab Emirates, as we've seen, the United States, Switzerland, I think Italy as well, of all places. Italy. Do you know what? It's funny actually, because I was speaking to a friend of mine when I was in. I don't know if you guys were watching me when we was in Luxembourg. I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he said, Sean, invest your money in Italy. Italy is up and coming right now. And just looking at that list, yeah, Italy's third on that list. So Italy, guys, listen, Italy is one of the places where people are going. That's what he was saying to me, invest your money in Italy. That's not financial advice, guys. I'm not qualified to give anyone financial advice. I'm just telling you what I was told. And it's not just the ultra rich that are bailing. I'm considering bailing. Honestly, guys, I'm absolutely torn. I'm considered bailing, but then I'm thinking, right, where do I go? Where do I go? Because everywhere's going to be the same pretty soon. Normal Brits are bailing. Normal people are thinking, and I'm not talking about that. So that was the numbers for the millionaires. What about the people who are not millionaires? What about the people who've got, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 grand in assets? Houses rented out, and they're like, yeah, do you know what? We're good. We're going to tap out. We're gonna go over to the UAE, or we're going to go over to the United States, or we're going to go over to Switzerland or Italy. Now, net emigration is spiking. That's more. It's spiking these figures, guys. Okay, and they're showing UK nationals are fleeing in absolute droves. However, This is where I think we're being gaslit, and I will come on to some videos in a second. I do think we're being gaslit because this is pushing net migration down. You see where I'm going here, guys? We've got lots of wealthy people, wealth creators, innovators leaving. And that's offsetting the amount of people that's coming into this country. So it is pushing down net migration to a 4-year low. I think the numbers ending June 2025 are 204,000. That's still fucking ridiculous. That's still ridiculous. However, that was a whopping 649 the year before. So this is year on year on year on year on year. That's thousands and thousands of innovators, entrepreneurs, wealth creators, the very people who fund, who fund taxes, who fund infrastructure, who invest in the local economy. They're the people who are leaving the United Kingdom. Why? One word, guys: taxes. Taxes, taxes, taxes. I've said this quite a few times, guys. All right, it makes no sense right now to start a business in the United Kingdom. If you do well in that business, you have to give your money to the government. If you lose your money or you make a bad decision and you lose everything, well, unlucky. And while that's happening, so paradoxically, while all this is happening, while we're getting rid of all the wealth creators, we have literally flung the doors open and we are importing a flood of low-skilled migrants from the third world. And every metric that you look at right now, guys, we are a failing country. We're a dumpster fire. Provisional data from the Office of National Statistics, data from the year ending June 2025, clocks non-EU net migration at 383,000. Even after Labour's July tweaks jacked up salary thresholds and slashed eligible roles to curb the inflow, let's be real, guys, okay? These figures and these numbers, I don't think they paint the true story, because it's not just last year. So we're looking and we're thinking, 385,000. It's a massive number. The numbers last year, the numbers before that, the numbers before that, the numbers before that. And I don't think asylum claims are in with this data. Because asylum claims hit 110,000 up to September this year, with 51,000 sneaking in. This is just up till September, guys. All right, this is over 1,000 a day. All right. No, it's not, is it? It's not up to it. It's not. No, sorry, it's not. It's not. Well, I want to say it's not. It's almost 1,000 a day. Let's see what the figures are at the end of the year. 51,000 sneaking in via small boats and lorries. This is not the surge of skilled workers, architects, scientists, doctors, engineers that we were being told. Immigration is down overall because of net immigration is down overall because of the mass exodus of people leaving the United Kingdom. 898,000 people arrived in the United Kingdom on the year to July 2024. Phenomenal, guys. It's phenomenal. But these numbers are still lopsided because propping up the low-wage sector while housing queues snake around. Like, have you tried to get an NHS appointment at the moment? It's phenomenal. You just can't get them. You cannot get an you can't go and see a doctor. So what they're doing is they're saying you've got to pay £10. So now what we've got is we're having to pay for a system that's shit. This is the problem with socialism, guys, all right? We need to privatize the NHS. And I mean really privatize it. Not just pay for it, not just pay extra for it, because we already pay for this anyway. And I'm going to suspect that the people who are waiting to see doctors, who are clogging up the NHS, I'm going to speculate that those people won't be eligible to pay for their appointment anyway. So it's going to have no effect. What we're doing right now, guys, we're sweeping out engine parts for like duct tape. It's a short-term fix for a long-term meltdown. And that's where we are. We are hitting short-term fixes. We're fudging the numbers, but we are going to have a long-term meltdown. Now, enter the autumn budget. We are a dumpster fire, guys. I'm going to come and jump onto the chat in a second. We are an absolute dumpster fire in the United Kingdom. So let's talk about the new budget. A couple of days ago, what was it? On the... I can't remember what we're on now, the 28th. So it was like on the 26th or something. Remember what they said. And I just want to talk about trust. When I was in the military, one of the things you get told really early on when you're doing like leadership courses is do not lie to your blokes. Don't lie. All right. You don't do that. because they won't believe you, and you need to have trust. Trust's everything. Trust means everything. Trust means more. Like in my paid work role, which I've got some work I need to do. I will need to cut this live stream. I will need to cut this live down, guys, to about an hour. I've got quite a lot of paid work I need to do. So when we talk about trust, like I work with contracts and stuff, you know, and I will tell everybody now, when you sign a contract, any contract, all right, it's not worth the paper it's written on. It's not. It's not worth the paper it's written on. Absolutely not. Trust. Trust means everything. If you trust those other guys, you know, that contract's it's an arbitrary document. If you don't trust those guys, that contract means nothing anyway. So in either case, you know, the contracts mean nothing. Trust is everything. And very early on, if any of you guys have done military training and gone on career courses, from day one, you do not lie. You do not lie. You do not lie. You do not make shit up. You be honest with your blokes. And the government does seem to be telling a few porcupines. So remember what Labour stood on. No tax hikes for working people. No national insurance raids. We're not going to raise taxes. Everything's budgeted. You know, they said their budgets was as solid as a rock. However, employer national insurance has rocketed, and a lot of you guys have been inboxing me saying your employers are letting staff go. I'm not making this up, guys. You know, a lot of employers are letting staff go. The numbers speak for themselves. National insurance getting a stealth gouge. Tax thresholds have been frozen. Small businesses have been hit with a 23.8 billion tab over the next 2 or 3 years or whatever it is. And you guys can go on the government's own website. So the year from October, that 12 months period, I'll share this with you if you want, guys, okay? The year to October 2025, we have 99,000 less jobs. That's not... So, again, you know, if you've been following me for a while, I've said we're going to have more people searching for less jobs. That's where we are now, guys. We've got 99,000 less vacancies. And these are official statistics. I think the real statistics are a lot darker. Kevin Badenoch's ripping into it as broken promises, and the Institute for Fiscal Studies, you know, they're nodding their head and saying, this isn't growth fuel, it's a drag on the strivers. It is, guys. If you're striving to do better for yourself, if you're striving and if you want to live in a moated castle and you're willing to put the work in, good luck, because you're just going to get taxed. And then when you do buy that moated castle, guess what? You're going to get taxed on that. I mean, look, this fucking mansion tax, these bitches, all right? If you've made enough money to buy a house, all right, and it's worth 2 million or whatever, all right, you've paid tax on every penny you've earned. You don't get to move that much money around without paying tax on it. You don't. You know, people think about, they're criminal. Guys, you can't move that much money without paying tax on it. It's virtually impossible. Yes, of course, people who are moving that money will look for the loopholes, for the easiest way, so they have to pay the least tax. Of course, they will do that. But ultimately, people who are living in big houses, they will have paid tax on every penny. They'll pay tax on every penny. And I think that's going to come down as well. I do think that threshold for 2 million, that will come down eventually until it's just another tax. Meanwhile, so we've got all these taxes, you know. Meanwhile, the not working get the golden ticket. You know, benefits boosts baked in, pay rise for the lowest rungs, even cuts to the energy bills, guys, and they do feel like crumbs off the table right now. It's welfare on steroids. 13 billion extra for the pot, they say. But who's paying? Like, who's paying? The wealth creators are already, literally wealth creators are already halfway out the door. I don't know how much you guys have been following me. I do like international work, so I work with different countries. Like I may have a customer in America. They want to pay me, and right now, what I tell them is, don't bring any money into the United Kingdom, because it's, I will just have to pay tax on it, and the pound it's not really the tax. It's the fact that the pound isn't worth as the pound's being devalued, so my purchasing power with the pound is less. So right now, that money isn't coming into the United Kingdom. That's going into a partner's account, and that's me. And I'm not dealing with great. I've hardly dealt with anything this year, but that's me not bringing extra money into this country, and that money would be all additional to GDP. So all the wealth creators are going, the entrepreneurs are going, like we just showed on the 91 billion. That's US dollars, by the way. Sorry, guys. 91 billion US dollars left the UK economy. So how does this end? It's certainly not with a bang. Certainly not with a bang. We have brain drain. The United Kingdom is being absolutely hollowed out. Our talent is leaving. Our money is leaving. They're going to, United Arab Emirates. They're going to the United States, and they're going to Italy. That's what's happening, guys. I'm not making that up. They're the numbers. By 2030, we could be an absolute ghost economy. Innovation outsourced. Any hopes of Britain being like a world power would be gone. And I do think there's going to be this mass exodus, guys, to Antarctica. I just don't see any other way around it. I really don't see any other way around it. We could have that frozen frontier. Britain, we already have claims to, like, I think 1/8 of Antarctica. Britain does with the Falklands. It does seem right now, guys, that we are an absolute dumpster fire. I don't see any way out of this now. I don't see what the government can do to attract those investors back, because what we've seen is now we've seen these. I'll share this with you guys again. So what we've seen is, and what we are seeing, what this is true. I'm not making this up. You guys can argue with this all you want. What we've seen here is Britain. We are at the bottom here. We have got more millionaires leaving the UK than any other country. We're swizzled, guys. We are. Look at. We're almost double. We are double. We're double our next competitor. That was Raven Maths. So we are more than double. We have got more than double the amount. So this is, if you're joining for the first time, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've not hit the bell notification down below. So this is Country Wealth Flows. This is from Henley and Partners. You guys can check this out yourself. This is the inflows and outflows of millionaires from countries. So the United Arab Emirates, they've had plus 9,800 millionaires go into their country. And that's put into their country 6.3 billion US dollars. All these figures are in US dollars. The United States, Italy, and then if you go down here to the United Kingdom, we are leading the track, guys. We are leading the track with more than double our next. We're like losing, but we're losing twice as good as the next loser. So we're double at the bottom of the. I don't even know how embarrassed. I can't even find words to describe how embarrassed I am about this. 16,500 millionaires left the United Kingdom in 2020. This is last year's numbers, obviously. This is last year's numbers, which has taken $91.8 billion equivalent to dollars out of the UK economy. So when we're talking about, you know, how much money these taxes have raised, like straight away, the taxes have cost us without touching, you know, without even starting, the taxes have lost us 91 billion in our economy. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna jump onto the chat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I do have some coffee. I keep pretending I can't drink my coffee because I still think we're streaming on TikTok, but we're not, are we? Yeah, Debbie Doobs has hit the spot here. Debbie Doobs is saying, as people leave, surely taxes are going to rise to fill the gap left behind. Absolutely, Debbie. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. They're going to, and that has to happen. Lord of Langworth is saying, morning shit show is a bit of an understatement. It is, guys. It is. It's well, I didn't say shit show. I said, because the algorithm will swizzle me if this is shit show. D. Marie Gen X is saying 70% of foreign-born people have over 2 kids, and will benefit from the new welfare reform, according to Alex Phillips. Yeah, I've actually got this. So D. Marie Gen X, I've actually got that video, and I'm going to share that video shortly. The Watchman is saying, hello, everyone. Hello to you, Watchman. Right, I'm going to jump down, guys. I'm going to jump down. Sharon is saying the guard that was shot in America was a 20. Yeah, there was a 20-year-old lady. I don't think women should have frontline roles. I don't think women should have frontline roles. I don't. I've spent. You know, guys. When I'm saying this is not a humble opinion at all. This is like when I'm giving you this opinion now. This is not a humble opinion. This is didactic. You know, this is tactically. Tactically sound. Women should not be allowed in frontline roles, military frontline roles. No, it should not happen. First of all, physically, women are not as strong. In general, I totally understand that there are some girls out there who are absolute beasts. I get that. I totally get that. In general, they're not as strong. The problem for me lies with the dynamics. The dynamics. Now, I'll give you a real. I've never, when I've been in the army, when I've been serving overseas, or I've never worked with women. Never worked with women. All right, I've always been with men. Always been with men. Now, when I left the military and I worked for the British Embassy in Baghdad. Again, all men, working for all men. We were working for, so in the British Embassy in Baghdad, the European Union was working out of the British Embassy in Baghdad. So we used to do work for the European Union, and we used to do work for the British Embassy. Now, the European Union teams wanted to have more diversity. Sorry, the European Union wanted to have more diversity in the teams. So they wanted us to employ women. Now, where we used to live in the villa, it was fucking awesome, guys. It was absolutely awesome. We had like this, maybe like a, I don't know, 12-bedroom villa in Baghdad. The rooftop was turned into a gym. There was a mixed martial arts area. There was a CrossFit area. It was fucking awesome, guys. It was awesome. You know, you would have like, you know, really like manly men just like walking around in their pants and being horrible to each other. As soon as girls turned up on the contract, social dynamics changed. There was these Irish guys, and they were trying to like flirt with the girls. They started wearing hair gel and cologne and like brushing their teeth and absolute gay shit. And I was sat in the room. I don't associate with anyone who's not like a tier 1 operator. So I don't associate with a lot of those people. And I was sat there with a couple of my friends. One of them was Jay. He was X3 para. JR, who's American, JR Jr. He was ex-US Marine, and we were sat there, and I think yeah, there was another guy called Paul. He was ex-2 para. And we were sat there and we were just saying, you know, how the dynamics have changed since girls came onto the contract. So I don't think girls should have frontline roles, guys. I don't think girls should have frontline roles at all. Not in the military, not when you're having to deal with people, not when you know, because when this happens, you know, when you're fighting through, when you're coming into combat, you then have to start thinking about the girls, you know, right? Are the girls keeping up? You know, have we got those girls? What's happening to the girls? Right, get them back, get the girls back. You know, there's a scene on, there's a scene in Lord of the Rings, right? There's a scene in Lord of the Rings where it's Lord of the Rings Two Towers, and the fortress has fallen. You know, the fortress has fallen. They've had to pull back to the citadel, you know, and, you know, everything's going wrong. And, you know, the orcs are coming, and the king, you know, King Theoden, the horsemaster, he's gone. He can't, he's looking at, he's seeing his fortress fall. The fortress has never fallen before. And Aragorn has to stand up. Aragorn has to take control. And the first thing he says is, send for the women and children to make for the mountain pass and barricade the door. And all the men stay behind and they charge out against the orcs. He doesn't say, give all the women and children shields, because he knows there will be a liability. You don't need that. Have you never met a girl on the front line that can't keep up? I've never met a girl on the front line. You know, I've never met a girl on the front line, guys. I've not. When I was deployed in Afghanistan, like the only girls that we would see would be like if you go to the shop or something, or I've never had a girl. No, actually, there was one girl. She was one of the helicopter pilots, but she wasn't out on the ground. Debbie Doobs is saying, a couple women joined my hubby in the street steelworks. They didn't last long, caused many. Yeah, guys, it's not, you know, I'm not saying about the physicalities. The physicalities are the physicalities, all right? If you can pass the tests, you pass the tests. I get that. You know, if you pass the tests, you pass the tests. It's the other problems they cause. You know, men and women's brains work differently. You know, men and women's brains work differently. Like, I think in straight lines. I think in absolute straight lines. You know, I struggle to get in the car with Sarah when we're going somewhere. I do. I really struggle because we'll go all over the place. Listen, guys, I'll leave you with this, okay? Everybody wants to be a gangster, all right, until it's time to do gangster shit. The most potent soldiers that you will ever see are white Christian men. No one even comes close. Nobody even comes close, guys. No, I don't know what it is. Nobody comes close to white Christian men. Nobody. That's the reality. And that is not a humble opinion. Right, I've got some videos to share with you guys now. Guys, if you're just joining for the first time, and if you're listening and you've not done so already, please hit that subscribe button down below, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that subscribe button down below, guys. It really does help me out when you do that. Where are we? Right. I'm going to share, I know I shared this last night, but I'm going to share this again because this video is absolutely hilarious. I said I was going to share it twice last night, but this is a Katie Hopkins video. Now, she shared this yesterday. If you're watching and you're international and you want to know how it feels living in the United Kingdom, this is pretty much a good analogy of how it feels living in the United Kingdom right now. And I know I shared this last night, guys, but it's too good to only share once.
What? Really? Oh, yeah. No, don't mind me. I'm just responding to the budget from yesterday. I know they told Rachel Reeves, a ceramic bobhead with the number 10 window lickers, needs the shirt off my back. So I'm just getting that to send in to number 10 in between my shifts here on my lunch break. So she's got that shirt off my back. Also, I owe taxes on the taxes of the taxes. So I just earned a £5. So I know that means I have to pay the government a tenner. So I'll put that in as well. What's that, Fatima? You want to have another 4 kids? Okay, sure, yeah. I'll just get straight back to work so I can pay for them for you. Yeah, brilliant. I'd love to, yeah.
Tell me she's wrong, guys. Tell me she's wrong. Tell me she's wrong. Tell me, you show me somebody that tells me she's wrong, and I will show you guys a liar. I will. I'll show you guys a liar. I'll show you guys a liar. Show me someone who tells me she's wrong, and I will show you guys somebody who says she's a liar. Right, where are we going to go next? Where are we going to go next, guys? Right, so there's been the call to prayer now in Buckingham Palace. I'm going to share with you guys this as well. So the call to the Islamic call to prayer is now happening in Buckingham Palace. He's got, look at the picture behind him. Britain is great. Buckingham Palace, ladies and gentlemen. Buckingham Palace. I'm not going to play that whole video. And listen, guys, I will be quite fair. You know, when I used to live in the Middle East, I used to love listening to it. You know, I used to love listening to the, call to prayer. I'd be sat there with my bottle of Beaujolais, a big dirty Cohiba, a T-bone on the barbecue. I'd be watching the sunset over the Tigris. Beautiful, all the palm trees and the desert. I love that. I love that sort of stuff, guys. I don't want to hear that in Buckingham Palace. Who is anybody with me, guys? Is anybody with me? Is anybody with me that we're not going to see a King William? Is anybody with me that we are not going to see a King William? Hang on, guys. God, I've got so much work to do. Hang on. Jesus, I'm not even opening that. If you don't open it, they don't know you've seen it. There is hope. There is hope. I want to play to you guys Donald Trump. So Donald Trump now, let's just hear what Donald Trump is saying. So I don't know if you know or not, but Donald Trump has suspended all migration from third world countries.
You'll see there was a law passed. It makes it.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China. And
So just for context, guys, Bagram Airport or Bagram Air Base is north of Kabul. It's in a mountain range. It's covered from the to the north, the northern aspect of it, like half a bowl in the northern aspect of Bagram Airport is covered by a mountain range. Now that mountain range is ridiculously resource rich.
They make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But they were incompetent. Yeah.
So that's what Donald Trump's saying. Now, Donald Trump is saying, they're going to, in response to the shooting of the 2 National Guards in Washington, D.C., what he's saying is they're going to stop anybody coming from the third world. Now, I just want to throw this out to you guys, because there was an Afghan man, very similar situation. Afghan man stabbed Wayne Broadhurst I think it was in Uxbridge, I can't remember when it was. But obviously, you're never going to get a perfect side-by-side comparison. It's just never going to happen. But the best we can compare of how different governments deal with similar situations, on one side, you've got Donald Trump. He's closing the borders. He's reevaluating every Afghan that came over from from Afghanistan. Here we have the United Kingdom, where we have this guy, I can't remember his name, who stabbed Wayne Broadhurst. He was walking his dog, dead, not coming back. He's not going to be celebrating Christmas with his family this year. Now, if you guys, and I don't know if this is the case, if you guys want to look into this, there was also another headline saying that a man who was released early under Labour's early release plans has been arrested for murder. The times marry up. I don't know if it's the same person. I want to be very clear with that, guys. I don't know if it's the same person, but those times do marry up. So potentially, guys, this is speculation. This is only speculation. We could have a situation in the United Kingdom now where Keir Starmer released someone from jail early. That person was an Afghan migrant. He went on to stab someone dead on his early release. We also know that there are super injunctions now. So we know that if this was a super injunction, we know that the press and media wouldn't even be able to say they know about it. Total media blackout. And I would speculate there are a lot of these super injunctions right now. What else have we got, guys? We've done Trump. Who have we got? Who else have we got? Right, we've got Rupert Lowe. I've got a little bit of Rupert Lowe. You see, there are good people out there, guys. There are good people out there who understand what's happening. But I'm just, I don't know how many of these good people can be, a lot of these people will be sidetracked.
The right not to be raped, stabbed.
Okay, so I am going to stop this a few places. I want you to listen to the heckles. I want you to listen to what people are shouting behind him. That should tell you more than what he's saying. Obviously, what he's saying is important. But I am going to stop this, and I want you guys to listen to what the people behind him are shouting.
Hear so much of the human rights for foreign paedophiles, sex pests and murderers
is not giving way. Members may disagree with what he's saying, but we will conduct this in an orderly way.
What about the human rights of the British people?
Did you hear that? He said, what about the rights of the British people? And someone shouted, absolute nonsense. I don't know what context that's in. Are they shouting British people, what about the rights of the British people? Oh, absolute nonsense. They don't have any rights. And look, that may sound far-fetched, right? It may sound far-fetched, right? Let's not forget that the Home Office argued with the hotel in Epping that asylum seekers' rights trump the people of Epping. And I just want to add, that's a fantastic fireplace behind them.
Human rights of the British people. The right not to be raped, stabbed and killed by foreigners who should never have been in our country to begin with.
Strong words, guys. Absolutely strong words, what he's saying. And you can always I think you always get a lot of information or potentially more information by the outlying information that these people, the stuff that people are shouting. Like, if you look at some of the, again, you know, I know I'm very biased with this. I'm very biased with this. When I used to look around where I used to work, you know, I used to look around at the people where I used to work and think, yeah, these guys are badass. These guys, you know, these guys have got my back. You know, they've got my back. If I fall, these guys will pick me up. When I look at the, you know, when I look at the government, these backbenchers, I look at these people and I'm looking at them and thinking, these are not people I trust. Gerald of Riviera with a fantastic picture of a... Is that a Messerschmitt? Is that a Messerschmitt, Gerald of Riviera? What a fantastic airplane. You know, the problem with the Messerschmitt wasn't its aerodynamics, the problem, or its engine. The problem with the Messerschmitt was its fuel tank. It was a huge problem with all the Messerschmitts. They give them very, very small fuel tanks. Now, when they were fighting over it's a Stuka. Sorry, it's a Stuka. So when they well, I think the Stuka was the same. All the German aircraft, they gave them very small. Yeah, of course, I can see by the. I was looking at the landing gear. Yeah, by the cockpit. They gave them very small fuel tanks. Now, when they were fighting the Battle of Britain, they couldn't stay in the air that long. So they were being overwhelmed by this. Well, not overwhelmed, but they were being outmaneuvered by the Hurricanes and the Spitfires because they couldn't do those maneuvers because it took too much fuel. Yeah, dive bomber. Right. Yeah, sorry guys, it's a Stuka. Sorry, Gerald of Riviera is saying the government's job is to enforce the will of the public and protect the public. Anything else is treason. Treason could carry a cap. No, in 1997, I think Tony Blair removed capital punishment from. I think they removed the treason law altogether. Kind of tells you the direction they're heading, right? Listen, Gerald of Riviera, I don't know if you've been following me for a while. I don't know if you've subscribed or not, but I think everybody should subscribe. That's on now if you've not done already. What I will say is, I say this all the time. In the United Kingdom, we have no legal framework to protect ourselves. The last thing, and it's clutching at straws, the last thing that we had, literally the last thing that we had in this country was trial by jury. And it does look like trial by jury is being phased out. Right, what else have we got? I've got Patrick Christie now, guys, on migration. I'm going to give you guys Patrick Christie on migration. So if you guys caught the first part of my live stream when I was giving the monologue, I just want to share this with you now, guys, from Patrick Christie.
Living in... I want to apologise to you for what I'm about to say, but you need to know some hard truths. Today, the net migration figures came out, and you will see and hear a lot of idiots telling you that net migration fell by 2/3, that this is a great thing, and that Labour is sorting the country out. Don't let them fool you. This is what you need to tell them. Here is the truth. Asylum seekers now make up 44% of the net migration figures. That number is set to rise. There are 7,000 more people living in migrant hotels than when Labour came to office. So again, it is not true to say there are fewer asylum seekers in hotels. This year, 110,000 people claimed asylum. That's a record-breaking number. We have removed just 3.5% of all small boat migrants since 2018. The employment rate of refugees who have been granted refugee status and allowed to stay in Britain for 8 years is way below the average for British people. Of those in employment, 2/3 earn less than 20 grand a year. Less than half of Afghan refugees.
So I think what he's saying there is they don't pay tax.
Are employed, their average income is just £15,000. They are not all doctors and engineers. In the year to September 2025, we gave out 850,000 visas. Of those, just 7,200 are doctors and just 5,129 are engineers. The Home Office told the Centre for Migration Control that they have no idea how many foreign criminals have been awarded visas since 2021. In the last 5 years, we have had net migration of 1.146 million people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and India.
Do they sound like the countries we want people from, guys? I don't know.
That is higher than the entire population of Birmingham.
So just to put that into context now, we have had in the United Kingdom in the last year, I think it was the last year, to June, in the last year to June, basically the last year, the numbers will be higher, I assume. We have had a town the size of Birmingham full of Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Indians come into the United Kingdom. So we imagine, try and visualize that, guys. All right, try and just visualize that. The numbers we're talking about: a new town, a new city, the size of Birmingham, just popping up instantly. 100% populated with Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Indians.
Migration is actually still close to record levels. But the reason net migration is down is because so many people are leaving. But who are those people? Well, it is the 16 to 44-year-olds, many of them British, most of them wealth creators or potential wealth creators. Gone, vanished. Every worker who is left in Britain is being told to pay more tax so that the third world can come and live in Britain. Let's go. This important interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your...
Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to get the advert on. He snuck that advert out on me, didn't he? He snuck that advert out on me. So, guys, listen, if you guys missed it earlier on when I was talking about this, 16,500 millionaires have left the United Kingdom in 2024 to, I think it's June to 2025, taking with them 91 billion US dollars. Obviously, you know, convert it'll be pounds, but as far as the US economy is UK economy is concerned, that would be the equivalent. While we are importing different people, we really are a dumpster fire, guys. I don't know where this ends. It doesn't seem to be ending anywhere good, guys. You know, it doesn't seem to be ending anywhere. Mezzalore is saying, I foresee Islamic citadels, though in reality we have them already. Yeah, one of the things I said is when we head into this civil war, in the United Kingdom, if we look back at what, I mean, we're seeing it already with this raise the flags, right? You know, if you guys look back on, I don't know if you guys are old enough or if you understand what, you know, I don't know if you guys are old enough or you would, you know, or maybe you don't understand what happened. I don't know. Northern Ireland, you had a very similar thing. You had Protestants and Catholics, all right? It was very two sides, basically. You had people who wanted to be part of the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland state. Right, guys, sorry, I'm not going to get into this. Basically, Northern Ireland, you had a lot of segregated communities who kept those communities to themselves, and they didn't mingle with other communities. You had like a balkanization, and I think when we head into a civil war in the United Kingdom, we will have that. We will have little Somalia. We will have little Bangladesh. We will have little, well, I mean, some of these communities are not little anymore, you know, and these communities will be literally operating in themselves. And then we'll have other parts that are, you know, literally balkanization. And, you know, one of the things I said, you know, about one of the things I said on the live stream is we need to have that legal framework. And I said, look, if I had my way, what I would do if we got that legal framework, I would just take Cleethorpes in where is Cleethorpes? Is it Northeast Lincolnshire? Yeah, I think, yeah, Cleethorpes is not, I said, my plan would be to take Cleethorpes in northeast Lincolnshire as a stronghold. And I kind of just threw it out there as like, I couldn't think of anywhere else. And it was just for the purpose of an example. But the more I think about it, and again, it sounds arbitrary. The more I think about that place logistically, the more it makes sense, guys. The more it really does make sense to have the First Republic of Cleethorpes, because like you've got a lot of countryside up around that area. You know, you can stop people coming to you. It's very easy to defend. So I'm talking about you and have Cleethorpes and Grimsby up to the Hull Estuary. You know, you've got a big dock, so you can bring international imports in. You would be able to, like, if you cut off Cleethorpes, you could have a really strong economy there. You could have a really strong economy in Cleethorpes, and I do think that would be the best. Also because it's it's a coastal town. Because it's a coastal town, you know, you wouldn't be able to get attacked from all sides. You know, anybody coming over the water, you would obviously see them. It's a lot more difficult to attack over the water. So you've halved your, you've halved your exposed sides straight away. You know, and I do think it would be a good. I do think it would be a good place. Laurie Hill is saying they've killed apprenticeships completely this week. There's literally no point in paying to train someone. Debbie Doobs is saying, I saw a burqa-clad woman paddling in the sea in Mablethorpe. So for those of you guys who don't know, Mablethorpe is about 20 miles south of Cleethorpes. It was surreal. Listen, guys, if I ever do take the first Republic of Cleethorpes, there'll be no paddling in the water in burqas. It will be bikinis. It will be bikinis or mankinis. Slim is saying the whole situation is getting out of the hand. They are making sure the problem is unresolvable without extreme measures. Do you know what? The further we go down this path, I agree, the harder it is to get out. You know, it's like, you know, last year I gave the analogy. Last year I gave the analogy of, like, you know what? I've got one in the house. You know those pressure cookers, right? You know those pressure cookers. The last year I gave the analogy of a pressure cooker, and what the government has done is they've turned up the heat, but they're not giving us. Then there's no way for the steam to get out. So the inevitability is coming. Cheryl says it's a quick one today. I've got to go. Yeah, it's got to be a quick one for me as well, guys, because I've got paid work to do. I've got how many messages have I got so far? Oh, God. 25. It was 14. It's 25 now. Those guys really need to get me to get on the group chat. I'm not going to look at it, guys. I'm not going to look at the group chat. I'm not going to look at the group chat. Do you know why I'm not looking at that group chat? Because you guys get my priority. Andrew Ruben is saying, wanted to keep control of ports when it goes pear-shaped. If we control the ports, we control the country. Listen, guys, you know, the more I think about it, you know, and I know I said this as like, okay, so you guys just know how fast I think, right? I was on a live stream or something. I can't remember. I think I was on a live stream, and I just said, look, we need to have somewhere as a stronghold. And in my head, I was thinking, right, where can we have that's like, first of all, it has to be, if you want a stronghold in the United Kingdom, it has to be a coastal, town. Yes, of course, you know, you'll have other people saying, oh, no, we should have Chester because there's already a wall around it. Oh, no, we should have... Look, guys, if you have a coastal town, you cut your... the bad guys can't get to half of you straight away. They can't get to half of you. And if it's going to be a stronghold, that means you're not going to run. So for it to be a stronghold, as far as I'm concerned, it needs to be a coastal town or city. Now, you don't want it too big. You don't want it too big, because if it's too big, it becomes unmanageable. So I was thinking like of a small coastal location with a dock. And I was like, fucking hell, straight away, Grimsby. Like, you've got Grimsby Docks, which is a huge dock, like massive. You've got good roads in and out. And, you know, it's surrounded by countryside. So I was like, right, straight away, like Cleethorpes, like as a first thought, I was like Cleethorpes. And I've actually given it more thought, and I can't think of anywhere better. If anybody thinks of another place, guys, that's fine. But I mean, it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter, you know. But I as far as I'm concerned, we need the first Republic of Cleethorpes. James is saying, I would argue these days coastal towns aren't that protected with ships and drones, etc. If the bad guys are only on foot, then you're protected. Yeah, so in this context, I was thinking about a civil war, you know, in the United Kingdom where, you know, I don't think, you know, the civil war, for example, they wouldn't be coming around in ships. And on the large part, you know, if there was a civil war, they would leave Cleethorpes alone because you wouldn't want to go and attack a strong place. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now because I've got a ton of work to do, guys. I've got a ton of work to do. Hang on. Where is the group chat? Helen, where is the group chat? Hang on. Group chat. Yeah, on my group chat, guys. I'm at my work group chat. I think that's what we're talking about. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to throw this out there as a live stream. You know, the United Kingdom is an absolute shit show right now. We have let me share. I've shared it loads of times. I'm not going to share it again. We have millionaires, wealth creators leaving the United Kingdom right now at a rapid rate of knots. We have last year, it's not just the millionaires that left. They're the statistics for the millionaires. We have because people that won't be in the statistics are, you know, the people who are not millionaires, who are maybe, you know, they've got maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 900 grand's worth of assets. You know, they're leaving the country. And then, you know, and when they set up business in other countries, they don't come back. That's the reality. Once you've left the United Kingdom and you've set up your business or you've set up your infrastructure in another country and you're earning money there and you're getting paid and your kids are settled and you're settled, you don't leave. So that money, I would say, is not coming back. It's going to be very difficult to get that money back. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. We are a dumpster fire right now. The whole world is a dumpster fire right now, actually. We have got global conflicts brewing all over the place, guys. I am going to close this down now. I'm just waffling. I am just waffling, guys. I'm just waffling. I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all those things, guys. Really helps me out. And I will be back on later tonight at 8. I do have a gimbal now, though, so you may see me out and about somewhere. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later.